What you got going on over there? Random rambling, it's a lot over here, so just keep up. Welcome to my life, be like real life, told by IQV. What it look like this week, we got an hour with you to save the world, let's go. I'm so happy to have you here.
Ooh, welcome back to another week, another episode of My Life Be Like. This is an unconventional day. I usually don't record podcasts, but my life been so hectic and Christian been so crazy, and I ain't been able to record a podcast. And I really think it was the Lord's way of telling me, I'm gonna give you the perfect topic because I've been there, everywhere about this, about what I wanted to talk about. Um, so I'm gonna get right into it. My life be like, I had a few angels to bless me, and I at least have my mortgage paid for April and May. Praise God. So yeah, that bought me a little bit more time, but I got to get this school situation figured out because I only have 6 more weeks, and then I'm out of school. Like I'm out, so I got to figure out what to do money wise. So if y'all got some help plans, thinking like I gotta get something, make a payment, do something. If you want to be generous and pay, I think my tuition is about $4,000 ish a quarter, and that's with everything, like materials, everything. So if you want to help, I can show you where to put the money in. Because yeah, definitely I'm out and I'm out of like options. Like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? So yeah, that's that. Life is lifing all the way around. But one thing I do want to address before I get into this podcast is the people out there that know me in passing, that know me on social media, and don't know me in real life. Attacking me is tired, it's old, and please just don't make yourself avail to the enemy and his vices. Um, I'm going through a lot right now, a whole lot. And the last thing I need is for somebody who, see excerpts, clips, or whatever online, or, and don't like it, don't agree with it, or don't like y'all are disagreeing with crazy stuff like the way I run my business, the way I um do certain things or whatever. Y'all taking beef with that, and you don't know me. You don't know my reason and cause. Without getting to know me, you making assumptions and stuff about me that are wild and crazy. And to that, I want to say, go on somewhere. There are uglier things I could say, but I'm gonna say, go on somewhere. Like, I don't know what y'all intention is. It seems to be kind of sort of the same group of people. And let me tell you something, baby, you're not gonna stop me. You're not gonna stop me. Like, my friend made a perfect point today. My good sis at church, she said, life might be beating you, but it ain't winning. It ain't winning. You still here. It is not winning. And you know what? I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna eat that because that's a small victory. Because you know what? There are some people that let life defeat them, and they get on out of him. They take themselves on out of him. But right now, life might be whooping my behind, but it ain't winning. Because I still get up every day, another day to fight. So if you're not gonna sew up, then shut up. You ain't got nothing to say about me, babe. You'll be okay. Y'all like to hide behind and think this is a crazy thing. A lot of y'all think because I'm off the scene in Noonan, like you don't see me out there. I don't know people. I know lots of people, Lots of people will tell you that they know me and they know me by my government name, which is how I know they actually know me very well. Because people who know my God given government name tend to know me a little bit better than the people who know QV. Because if you can recollect Quavadis, then you know me exceptionally well. And these people will tell you I am the most unbothered. I stay away from people, but y'all go and talk to people and not know that these are people who are very acquainted with me, and they come back and tell me what you say or whatever. Y'all think y'all just talking to your homies, your girlfriends, or something, but they come back and tell me, child, child. So chill out. I mean, it would be great if you would get to know me, get to know my reasoning and passions and other stuff behind things, like the comments saying, and I know to the ones of y'all that hear what I'm about to say is probably gonna shock you. So sit down. The comments are being made that because they never see me do anything outside of school with kids, that I must hate kids. And I'm like, huh? What? They was like, everything she do is always like adult centered. Well, one, I'm an adult. Two, education is very hard. And my life and my identity, unfortunately, isn't wrapped up in education. That's not who I was first. I haven't been this aspiring educator my whole life. This is just my lane, my purpose, my calling, and where God has me right now. So my life and identity is not wrapped up in education, which brings me to my third thing. I know who I am. I know my lane. I know my purpose. I know my calling. And some days it's harder than others, but I know what I've been put on this earth to do. So another mug could never check me about me and what I do. For I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. I'm an adult that is generally interested in the well-being of other adults. Why? Because we overlook the well-being of adults in the name of children are just supposed to have infinite any and everything. And this is where my educational background kicks in, and I see what happens when kids get all of everything. Let me remind you where my expertise in education is. It's behavior. I don't just go to school, and some of y'all have this, I guess, idea of what I do. I don't just go to school and teach fundamental um what you call it, fundamental academics, like foundational academics. It's not what I teach. I teach social emotional learning and actual behavior modification, like how to sit your behind down and how to follow a direction type stuff. I teach expectations and rules. I give other colleagues strategies and stuff to do with kids because that's my lane. So I'm not really teaching. I deal with academic loss because a lot of kids, by the time they make it to me, they've been suspended for school or out of school or whatever the case may be for an extended period of time, you know, suspensions or whatever may have you, mama keeping them home, whatever. And I have to deal with that. Um, but, but, but I am not, you say this, Bookie Bear, Bookie Butt. I am not just some fool or whatever y'all want to take me as. And I need to actually apologize for this too. Christian is stimming very loudly. Usually when I do these, Christian is asleep, half sleep. But y'all might hear her stimming very loudly, and I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk as close to my microphone as I can. But back to this. If you don't know me, just shut up. I know me. And that's all that really counts is that I know me. I don't care about doing things for children outside of school because I'm not supposed to. That's not my lane. That's not my calling. My calling is to care about the well being of adults. So getting upset because it started all off, y'all, with Easter basket. because I don't make children Easter baskets was the first statement that was made. It's like, dang, she don't make children Easter baskets. When she give away school supplies and stuff, it's always no kids. Everything about her life is just when she do outreach, when she do different community events and blah 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 blah. It's always like not nothing with kids. Most teachers, you see them do stuff with kids. Teach Sunday school. It's like I don't even think she teach Sunday school, which is I don't. I don't want to do youth ministry at all. At all. I don't. It's not my calling. There are people out there that do it, but it's a lot of educators, and that's a misconception that y'all have. There's a lot of educators that know Sunday school on Sunday is a boundary for them because they don't want to teach all week and then teach Sunday school too. They have to be a person. Y'all forget that educators are people. People. We're people. We have feelings, desires, wants, needs, etc. And this is not our identity. My name is Quavatis Milan Thomas first, and I'm a clergy person, and then I'm a mom, a clergy person, and then I'm an entrepreneur, and then I'm an educator, babe. If you want me to put my life in hierarchy, first things first. That's how that rolls. My mom, I'm a clergy person, I'm an entrepreneur, and then I'm an educator. That's it. Please don't try to wrap my identity up in something that this is not supposed to be wrapped up in. And really, you can put clergy person slash humanitarian philanthropist all on the same line. But if you knew me well enough, you know that. But y'all, let this be the last time y'all mention my name and what I ain't doing in my life. Because what I'm not doing is not caring at all. Because if you're not going to help me out of this situation, shut up. Like, shut up, please. And thank you. So I've had a go on to topics. I've had a lot of topics and things I wanted to talk about and wanted to deal with, etc. I had a lot of people who have talked to me about different things, talked to me about things they've heard on the podcast, things they hear me say, like conversationally. I've seen a lot of TikTok videos because yes, I draw topics from TikTok videos, things that happen in life, etc. I draw from where I'm gonna draw from. And there are two things that I want to talk about. And the first thing I want to talk about is this political climate that we're in because this political climate is on the rough side of the mountain. If you know me, I shouldn't have to tell you who I voted for. What is aggravating to me right now, absolutely aggravating to me, is misinformation and uninformed voters and lack of accountability to consequence. It's what's aggravating me about this political cycle. And this, I have a point with this. I seen a video and I can't think of her name and I forgot to write it down where she said the only way we can fix the political climate that we're in is literally to do away with everybody that's been elected in office. And I certainly agree. And we re-elect people. And if they've been serving office, which is, I think I might have said this, if they've been serving office in an office over 10 years and haven't made a significant impact, they need to go. Like they shouldn't be considered to be reelected. The problem is that we still got baby boomers and I think even the generation before that running Gen X and Gen X, Gen Z, Gen Y, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha, and I think we're on Gen Beta. I don't know where we at. and these gens. All I know that hi, my name is QV and I'm a millennial. Um, we got all these old people ruling and trying to control the generation that they really don't know very much about. I think it would be beneficial because we all know, and I say this, and y'all, some of y'all disagree with this, is that representation matters. And I feel like most of us are being misrepresented or underrepresented, period, in all levels of government. I also think that a lot of us didn't listen in civics and don't understand government too. And the third thing I think that's happening, which is going to bring me into my third topic, is God is not always the answer. Like, there needs to be, and she talked about this in her video, there needs to be a clear divide between your politics and your religious beliefs. And a lot of y'all have intertwined them in a way to where it's nasty and it's wrong and it's misconstrued to what you think you want to interpret the Bible for. And let me start off by saying that I took 2 years, not 1 year, not 2 years. I mean, not 1 year, not a year and a half, not a month, but 2 years plus one whole year, because I did 1 year of dance ministry, 2 years of regular, I guess you would call that pulpit ministry, of studying. And I'm going to tell y'all that a lot of the problem is that y'all have read the Bible, but you don't have the tools to understand it. It's just like if I gave you an algebra book and take the instructions out of it and just give you the topics and the problems. And I don't teach you how to use the formulas to solve it. So what you have done is just open the Bible, read what you want to read, and exegese, interpret, or whatever the way you wanted to take it out and interpret it. And that's what's crazy and what's wrong. I know in First Corinthians 1:10 said that be there no division amongst us, and it's in the New Testament, so it's very relevant. Um, for the ones of y'all that feel like certain parts of the Bible aren't relevant, the whole Bible is relevant. It all has its purpose, but some of y'all misuse and misconstrue the purposes of the Bible. But again, that flows back into not knowing how to use the Bible, because it's the same as what I talked about in my last episode. We have a literacy crisis. So being able to read words doesn't mean you comprehend them. And thank you, Lord, for bringing me into that right after my last podcast. Is the literacy crisis is prevalent everywhere. It's not just, in common reading. It's in religious too. This is how we get all this that crazy mess we're hearing, and where God is and where God ain't. And we got a whole group of people that think they can put people in heaven and hell and judgment and tarnation. I be listening to y'all and I be like, what? Huh? Baby, you do know that one, religion is elective. And that's the first thing y'all need to understand. Like, religion is elective. I didn't say Christianity. I said religion, period, is elective. Like, you have the right to believe in whatever you want to believe in. And the other person just have to respect whatever you believe in. Like, I know, I know for a fact that a good portion of the people that I come in contact with every day are not good church going people. And that's fine. That's their choice. And I'm going to tell you, I don't blame them for not going to church. I don't. Because it's so crazy. It's confusing. And do we see all the mischief out in the world and all the crazy stuff out in the world? I told y'all, I am not a popular preacher, and I do not preach or teach or talk about popular topics or whatever. I'm going to tell you your religion, your beliefs, your faith is yours, and you do whatever you need to do with it, honey. But if the choices you make about how you exercise and practice your religious beliefs, I respect that. And they don't have to be Christian beliefs. They can be Muslim, Jewish, atheist, agnostic, satanic, whatever you want to do with your life. That same Bible y'all beat everybody's butt with, please remember it does give us free will to do what we want to do. Like, I don't expect everybody to call on the name of Jesus. I expect myself to be a witness of the power and the authority of Jesus Christ and the goodness of the Lord. I expect that, but I don't expect everybody. I can go out here and witness till I'm blue in my face. That don't mean I'm here to convert you. And I don't care. I don't tell people, well, oh, you're not a Christian, you can't hang around me. Cause baby, I'm a Christian clergy woman and I just can't know. I enjoy different people, different cultures. Everybody have a everybody has a perspective to a situation. And I say this all the time. You up and to do Christians need somebody in your life that's level headed. So you can be level headed because some of y'all have gotten so zealous about God that you have no accountability and nothing. You just think, oh, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, and God, and God, and God, and y'all hide behind that until it's just so crazy. What back to what I was saying about politics and stuff like that is that I really think we need to drain everybody. That's one. Two, we need to focus on what really governs our everyday lives, which is your local government, your local and state level government. Those have more impact on your life every day than federal government. Y'all have y'all eggs in the wrong basket because y'all are so misinformed. And three, I want y'all to understand, for the ones of y'all that feel like Kamala Harris and Donald Trump was two sides of the same coin. No, they were not. They were very clear, but y'all are what y'all eat. You choose to be hateful, so you go find things that are divisive and hateful. You don't want to see. I understand, and I've told y'all this. I have real Republican friends that are not MAGA. And I want y'all to know that. I need y'all to understand that there are actual real Republicans who have never sided with Donald Trump. I have real Republican friends who are conservatives as all get out, who refused to give that man a vote, who voted for a Democratic candidate because they know they needed to vote, because it was essential that we did vote, regardless of whether or not voting because you don't like the candidate is crazy. It's because it's another tactic of voter suppression. This is why they use attack ads and say the things they say to file y'all down to not vote, because to not vote is to vote for the oppression. If everybody would have said, "Oh no, they weren't voting for Obama in 2008, he was never going to be voted for. He was never going to be elected." But everybody wanted different. They wanted change. They wanted out of the bad marriage with the Republicans that we had done had at that point for the last 7 years plus years, and they elected the best party. There was nothing really wrong. Be honest, nothing really wrong with Mitt Romney, John McCain, or anything. They weren't all that bad. I can respect their position. Just Barack Obama was the better candidate. And when y'all become informed, and don't come to me talking about some, oh, you only vote Democrat because you're black. No, that is not why I vote Democrat. I vote Democrat because they best align with the social and economical interests that I want to see in this lifetime. The things that the Republican Party want, I'm not interested. But I'm not disrespectful either. That if that's your position, then cool, babe. Vote how you gonna vote. But to insinuate they was two sides of the same coin, that term right now is aging like spoiled milk, sour milk. It's chunky on the counter. You left it out too long. Because everything that y'all said Kamala Harris was gonna be, at war, no prices are going down, no temperament, nothing. Checks out. And if this causes you to unfollow me, so be it. I don't care. I would never support bigotry. I would never support hate. I would never support people that hide their abuse, hateful, bigoted, negligent, impulsive actions. I will never, ever, 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 never, ever, 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 never, ever, ever, um, um, my eyes itching so bad. Sorry. I will never, ever vote for anybody like that. I do look at characters and things that you do and you say and everything else. Because these, at the end of the day, the people you vote for are your representation. And that's when I see people get upset about how people are treating people because they voted for MAGA politicians. Hey, what did you expect? That's what you want representing you. And it's disgusting. And I don't want any parts of it. It's crazy. It's crazy. And some of y'all think it's funny. Y'all laugh it off. Y'all make excuses for us. And there's no excuse for it. There's no excuse to be that hateful, that crazy, that bigoted, that ill-mannered, untempered, etc. It's no excuse. And if that's the way you want to be represented in Buki Bear, go over there. I have nothing for you because I believe in sanity somewhat. Am I saying that the Democratic Party is perfect? Heck no. Am I saying that they have the perfect candidates and I agree with everything? Absolutely not. Because you're not going to agree with everything on either side of the aisle. And there are times that you're going to agree with people on the other side of the aisle. That's the way politics work. But what you're not going to do is you're not going. Oh, my eyes are itching so bad, y'all. My face, my eyes, and everything itching so bad. But what you're not going to do is you're not going I lost my train of thought, y'all. I'm sorry. My face itching, my eye has been doing the most today. Let me back these thoughts up. I said you're going to disagree. You're not going to agree with either candidate all the way. And you will probably at some points agree with the candidate on the other side of the aisle. And that's fine too. But the stuff y'all be doing, it just be too much. Let me just leave it like that. Y'all be doing too much. Y'all do too much. This is not about your God, your religion. This is about what you have to live every day, you and your neighbor. And I'm very considerate towards that. I'm very aware that I'm not the only person on this earth. Black people aren't the only people on this earth or anything else. I want what's best for the greater good. And if the candidate is being delusional and exclusive of people, I'm not voting for them. And I don't want no handouts. I don't want nothing free. This is how the country been running for the last 60, 70, 80, 90 years. What are y'all talking about? 100 years? I don't know. But if you were informed and not just listening to viral clips, hot takes, reels, TikToks, etc., like people who try to argue with me about mega, when I tell them to please go to the website and read it, not like go to AI and go to stuff, like go read it and then you understand why. Save Act. If you read the Save Act for what it say, it disenfranchises a whole lot of people. But you get to tell people, oh, you're taking it out of context. No, I'm not, babe. It's literally right there. They can't answer the questions because they know it's true. Quit letting people play in y'all's face. Okay? So yeah, that's gonna end that for me because this is what I actually want to roll into on the topic while we hear about, rolling religious up and making crazy decisions based on religion and stuff. What I really, really want to talk about, because I've been seeing a lot of videos coming out. Y'all know I'm a deconstructionist, meaning that I am deconstructing Christianity. I am not leaving the church. I am coming out of the fallacies, false ideas, crazy stuff that we've been taught as Christians or been misinformed about as Christians. And I'm just trying to do the right thing, trying to go deeper, trying to be careful how I ingest and pour out and impart into myself and the other people around me. So a lot of the TikToks and stuff that I see are deconstructionalists. I follow a lot of good deconstructionalists, a lot of pastors that are dealing with this climate and, doing very well at it. And a lot of people who have left the church because of things that have happened to them in the past, stuff that, financial abuse, sexual abuse, and I'm gonna warn y'all, we're gonna talk about that kind of stuff. Physical abuse, verbal abuse, because I am gonna say this as now being a lifelong church member, and I hadn't always been to the best of churches, that church is one of the most abusive places in the world. And a lot of these houses of worships and churches are borderline cults. And we are living in a society now where everybody is awakened, and I won't say woke like woke. No, they have been awakened to the nuances and the perils of church, and they want out of it. And I don't blame them. I don't. I listen. If you have left the church and you agnostic, atheist, don't believe nothing wherever you're, I don't blame you. This is confusing. It is crazy. And it's hard to understand. Some of us who have training, some of us, I'm going to put it like this. My whole life, for the exceptions of one or two times, I've been in a non-denominational church. I didn't grow up with all the strict rules and stuff of religious. I could wear my jeans, my hair. I could pray. I watched some of the best teach ministry, real ministry to me. And so deconstruction, I was never too entangled anyway as myself. I'm deconstructing because trying to see how I want to put this. I'm deconstructing the things around me. It's not necessarily me because I was never really put in a construct or anything crazy. Like I wasn't I would say some of the harder denominations that you see. I wasn't uh apostolic. I wasn't Kojic. I wasn't Church of God. I wasn't Pentecostal. I wasn't brought up in the UPC fundamentalist. I wasn't a Latter Day Saint, and I wasn't a Jehovah's Witness. But I have friends that are. So I'm deconstructing what's around me, not necessarily myself, because I never really had the roots. Like I could wear jeans all the time. I always sung in the church choir. I had crazy people, and I didn't encounter real craziness in the church until the one time that I went to church in a denominational church. And a lot of y'all that know me now actually know what church I'm talking about. I don't have to say what church I'm talking about. You should already know which one it is. If you've been knowing me at least, the last 20 years, you know exactly what church I'm talking about. I ain't really encountered craziness in ministry until I got there. And then I went to another church in my adult life that was just foolishness. A lot of times. And I backed away from there. But I hadn't been in a real construct. I hadn't had to deal with some of the things that some of my friends dealt with. Um, but I understand their plight and their fight because I'm about to get into that and talk about some of the experiences of the people that are around me. Why I want to talk about that. So this topic that I really want to talk about is hiding, you know, hiding abuse behind your faith, which is when faith becomes a cover up for mischief. Um and this is a heavy topic. Some of y'all not gonna want to hear this. Um I know this we have this whole appearance of what holiness is supposed to look like. Um and a lot of times what people feel like holiness is supposed to look like is harmful. Um and sometimes the loudest of the God said people um are some of the most harmful people that you ever met. The Lord told me to tell you, or God told me to tell you, are some of the most harmful people in the church, and we know that. And they use God because God is the original influencer. So it's easy for me to use his name. And that's not a bad thing. Um, it's easy for me to use his name to control a multitude of people because we can see that now when we wrap it into politics. People are very emotional about God, very emotional. They have little to no understanding, competence, or anything. They just know that they love God and this world goes around with God. And if I don't listen to and abide by God, that I'm going to hell. But I want y'all to know this. There are people, there are preachers, there are pastors that tell their people, the Lord put me as a head of your life and I to be your authority figure. And if you disobey me, you're in sin. And if you don't repent, you're going to hell. This is the type of things that go on that y'all don't know really go on. So this is how you birth these tanks and these um super extreme people like MAGA, because a lot of, and I'm not trying to discredit, a lot of white churches, they will say that. Even black churches say that, well, the Lord put me ahead. I'm the pastor. They put me in head of you. And if you don't like it, kick rocks. If you don't do this, oh well. You in hell, not me. I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. crazy. Um, and it's downright dangerous because I want, and I say this, and I know this is gonna hurt a lot of feelings. The Lord can talk to anybody He wants to. He does not have to use a priest, prophet, apostle, or anybody else, bishop, or anybody else to tell you what He want to tell you. Impartations are merely supposed to be confirmations. If it's something you ain't never heard or never felt before, then it's probably not true. You learn that in ministry school. If you have a good, solid leader teaching you, prophecies and impartations shouldn't be a surprise. You might not know the whole gist of it, but they shouldn't catch you off guard and you not been dealing with the Lord like that. And if they do, you need to either deal with the Lord about it, pray, soak, seek, and see if it's really true, or question the person that said it. Because everybody that come in the name of the Lord, I've said this all the time and I've been saying it for years. Everybody that come in the name of the Lord ain't for the Lord. The Antichrist can come in the name of the Lord too. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Um, I want y'all to hear this and take this with a bowl of spaghetti and eat it. God never needed protection from the truth. People do. And when you understand that, y'all will stop letting people manipulate you in the name of the Lord. And I'm gonna be real with you. Um, a lot of abuse get covered up in the church in the name of honor, order, and submission. And people get told, don't question leadership, don't touch God anointing, just pray about it. And for some odd reason, people think that these cliches are supposed to change things. Um, Meanwhile, harm it be happening right there in your face. And instead of protecting people, you just protect the system that's continuing to dishonor, discredit, and hurt people. Um, I like to say this, and lots of people, and this has caught me in education one time already. If you're in education, you probably need to remember this. And I'm not telling you to overthink this. You'll know when and where and how to act appropriately. I want y'all to understand this, and I've said this multiple times, that very careful of people who are overly zealous about their religion, overly just overbearing over everything about their religion. It's dangerous. It's usually a cover up for abuse, mischief, and everything. I've told this story uh, a, a trillion times. I grew up with a couple of my friends, which led me to my belief, and I'll tell you what my belief is about religion and children in a second. I was heavily involved in the church, but I was put in a place where I could understand God and all the things that were going on, the vices, the formalities, and everything else was going on in the church. As a child, I had teaching pastors. So they just didn't get up there and, ooh, and oh, the Lord said, like, I had long form teaching pastors. This is what they did. Lots of scriptures, lots of teaching, lots of um, telling, showing, not just doing stuff just to be doing stuff. Like, this is what we do and this is why we do it type things. And I've saw lots of, charismatic ministry growing up, etc. But I also grew up with a few people that whose parents were in extreme religious sects, cults, etc. Is what we gonna call them. And they didn't understand why things were going on. One of the biggest things is because they were girls. They couldn't understand, like, why am I made to, wear my hair a certain way and wear long dresses every day, and you get to wear pants. Like, my mom or my dad tells me, if I wear pants, I'm going to hell. Like, do you understand that you're going to hell because you don't have on a dress? You're telling an elementary kid something like that. And that's inappropriate. And I will always tell y'all, when you see kids, especially girls, who always have on long dresses and stuff like that, it is usually, and I'm not going to say always, it's usually abuse going on somewhere. People didn't believe me when I met a certain child, and I'm not going to mention no names or whatever. I started working and I seen a child. You see children with a skirt on one day and you don't say much or whatever. And then you notice this child every day got on a skirt. And you start asking some questions. You don't really know their family dynamic or nothing. You ain't been working that long, etc. And you learn some things, and I'm not going to repeat the things that you learned. And I said, hey, one thing about when that's going on is usually some kind of sexual abuse going on somewhere. Places like that, situations like that, usually involve sexual abuse. This is my experience growing up with friends who had similar situations going on. I'm not just making this up. People looked at me like I was saying and doing too much. And I don't know about that. Defects have been called, blah, 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 blah. Child XYZ, yada, yada, yada. I said, okay, whatever y'all say. But I'm going to tell you, I know that. And as I sat over time and I talked to said child, I had and watched certain behaviors of said child. I had made up in my mind. I said, that baby being abused. But y'all say that XYZ ABC, I'm going to stay out of it. But I know that baby being abused. Period. What happens is 2, 3 years later, baby gets pregnant by her brother. Oh! Everybody come back and look at me. Said, I told y'all this. I said this. I know this. When you have that kind of extreme, when you make kids practice things that they don't understand, she was too young to understand why she had a skirt on. And she don't probably have understand nothing that them people who telling her that she got to have that skirt on or go to hell and she can't eat pork and all of this stuff. She don't understand that. And you can tell by in conversation with her, she don't understand that. A lot of times, a lot of these people, they can't regurgitate what they know. They can only regurgitate things that have been told to them. They can't explain it. They can't teach it. When I was that age and I was deep off in the church, I wasn't in the trenches. I was actually in the church. I can actually open my Bible and explain these things to you. Not in a condemning way, but actually in a teaching way, because I had teaching pastors that was actually teaching me the right way to do things. If all they can do is just regurgitate garbage, then it's likely some unclean stuff going on right there. I don't condone children practicing extremely religious rites, traditions, and stuff that they don't understand. Why is your child got on a little headscarf thingy? And I don't know what they're called off the top of my head. I do know what the like head coverings are that the apostolics wear and stuff like that. Why is your child got on a long skirt? Why are you being so extreme about nothing? Why can't they have friends? Why can't they watch TV? Like, children need to do developmentally and socially uh appropriate things to develop. That's part of growth and development. We don't need to be making, and I don't like to use this word, but I need y'all to understand. We don't need to make socially retarded kids in the name of a religion, because these kids have to know how to function in society, or societal retarded kids, because they have to know how to function and how to take a social cue and how to conduct themselves in public and everything else. And when y'all wrap up this religion and hide foolishness behind it, they end up in bad places. I've watched this happen for 30 years. Since I was able to understand the difference, or what differences are, that would have put me around kindergarten, first grade. That's when I came in contact with these friends. I've always been hyper vigilant my whole life. That's why I can die on that hill at 36. When you start seeing young girls who don't have the option is to wear a pair of pants, who always have to wear a skirt, and their parents are so crazy about them wearing a skirt, and they're aggressive in nature with you and all of that. Yeah, some problems going on. I bet your bottom dollar and your left foot. Like, I want y'all to understand that there's a way to be passionate about your religion without being a zealot. And having a zeal for Christ is good. But when we become overly zealous, we lose discernment. And I say this a lot. Some of y'all's discernment is tainted because you have an opinion. And you can't have an opinion and discernment. This is what the expectation is, and your discernment is blah, 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 blah. You don't have an opinion. There is the gospel isn't opinionated, and it's not about you. So having an opinion tampers with your ability to try the spirit by the spirit, to understand what's going on. It puts you in a dangerous place, I tell you that. I can tell you about some of the people that go to church with me. They say some of the crazy stuff, and I know they're overly zealous and say, and I be like, tone it down, bring it down. It's okay. That ain't it. If your religious cause you to want to argue about everything and to cast people out and to dog people out and discredit everything, baby, you need to go re-examine your religion. I'm here to tell you this. That ain't God, that's you and what you want. Because when you really in the faith, people really in the faith, they have room for accountability, correction, and truth. But if you in this toxic cycle of zeal, you just shut it all down. I tell y'all this all the time. If you're in leadership, you will be questioned. The Bible tells us in everything to get understanding. How do you understand things? You ask questions. Don't listen. Let me tell you something. You come question me, I'm gonna answer it. I ain't gonna tell you the Lord said. The Lord ain't saying that. This is what QV got to say. How do you expect for people to learn if you can't be questioned? That doesn't make sense to me. The Bible would have never told us to get in everything to get understanding if you couldn't be questioned, boo. If you say that the Lord put you over here for you to be in authority and over me, then babe, how am I supposed to learn if you can't be questioned? A lot of what upsets me about pastors is they ain't teachers. Don't have a teaching skill insight. And no, you don't have to go to school to be a teacher. They're not teachable. Front door. Sorry, I had to see who was outside. They're not teachable and don't have any skills to teach. All they get up there and do is take a scripture and hoop and holler with it on Sunday. They're not teaching anything about the Bible, about living, about how to apply the Bible to living and anything else. They got this one scripture that they probably pulled out of somewhere, a hot take on something that they want to address. Ooh, something that happened in church. I've made it that far and then yawn. It's crazy, y'all. Ooh, getting better, Bookie. Um, okay, so I'm gonna. Sorry, press play on something I wasn't supposed to. But they take the one scripture and they go off with it, usually about something or somebody that happened in church. You don't have pastors that actually teach from the Bible, the concordance, notes, real life application, and everything. Shout out to my pastors, both of them. Because Shanetta and Walter, one thing they gonna do is teach a thing. They ain't even them kind of hooping and hollering pastors. And I love that for them because I'm not one of them people either. My pastors are loud, but they ain't hooting and hollering. I tell you that now. you ain't finna get all that hooting and hollering. And that's another thing that I want to get into later is all of these nuances with the Holy Spirit and feeling stuff and the necessity that if you don't feel it, it ain't right in church. But okay, I'm gonna get to now. Let's talk about how this is abuse hides. You know, it hides in titles, it hides in the pulpit, it hides in scriptures being taken out of context. Um, when a lot of times in church, people are told that you're supposed to forgive so quickly, but nobody is demanding accountability for the hurt, the misstep, etc. Just you're supposed to forgive people and turn on the cheek, or they tell you to be quiet because you'll cause great harm and damage to the ministry, and we don't need stuff like this getting out. And I'm like, babe, they did it to me when I tried in 2019 to warn people about that business that was defrauding people out of their hard-earned money because they were a Christian business in person. People was like, no, you shouldn't say that. I know y'all are probably having a falling out But you should say that, oh, that's your kingdom sister. You shouldn't say that. And so 2 years later, when the long list came out of all the people that she owed money and had defrauded, everybody come back and looking at me like crazy. I'm like, I tried to tell y'all then before y'all had gave her y'all money that she was defrauding people. And now here it is now. I guess it's been about 3 or 4 years now. And y'all still ain't got y'all money. Y'all ain't got y'all stuff. And she done disappeared, came back, disappeared, came back because every time somebody find her on social media, she disappeared. This is how you know she gone off of social media. She changes and move around on social media and deactivate, reactivate, and all of that stuff. So she can't be found on social media. So y'all can't harass her because she don't want to be accountable for the money she has stolen from people. And at this point, if y'all had any kind of sense, you take out a warrant. It's enough of y'all on that list to do a class action lawsuit or a warrant for theft. Because it's theft. It is theft. I would, you keep an email, you keep a receipt, you keep all these emails she sent, baby, that's theft. And you can't run for too long. Why not be accountable? I used to sit and listen to how this person was all this, and now I understand leaving like why things happen the way they happen. But I wish people wouldn't have shunned me for trying to keep y'all from getting robbed. Because that's all I wanted. After I had gotten robbed myself by them, I understood what they was doing. It had come to a head. I didn't want people to experience what I had done experienced. I got my money back. Yeah, true enough, because I acted fast enough, but they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew it was no way to dispute nothing, and it would be hard to prove that they had done robbed you blind. And so excuse after excuse, and people, oh, I'm praying for, and oh, don't say this and that. No, babe. I tried to warn y'all in 2019 about that person stealing, manipulating the system to get what they want. And I was a bad person. I want to say this right here. Your undesirable outcomes in ministry don't make the person bad. There are teachable moments everywhere. We fall down, but we get up. Is a true statement now for a saint, just a sinner who fell down but got up. Some of y'all don't like that statement. I don't like the wording of it, but I understand the context of it. But I'm not even dealing with that. I'm just dealing with the we fall down, but we get up. We do. We fail, but we get up, we learn, and we keep it moving. And we try not to let these things keep happening over and over again. And that's the only thing I was trying to prevent. It's that many people getting ripped off. Because it's ripped off. And I really hated the day that I found out about this, and I was called, text, and everything a bajillion times. It hurt my core because I was like, I lost friends behind it because they thought that I was entangled into the mess with you, and I wasn't. Now, I tried to vindicate myself in 35 things, but I know what she was doing, and when I figured it out, the friendship was dissolving, the working business relationship was dissolving, and everything else. I would never ever try to steal money and stuff from people like that. I ain't that kind of person. And I really can't believe that I was deceived about it so long. Um, and the crazy way that God brought it to my attention. I hate losing some of the friendships and stuff that I lost in there. I hate losing them. It's insane. It should never happen. But it's my fault. I know I had to take a long pause right there. I want y'all to understand that silence kills. If you are witnessing or you know injustice, speak up. Don't keep letting it happen. If it don't feel right, likely it ain't right. I'm just gonna be honest and I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Actually, probably a buck 50. If it don't seem right, it probably ain't right. And the abuse and the wicked, twisted stuff in the church, it leads to bigger problems. And I talked about this at the beginning. That is, this is not happening in church. We see the same stuff. It plays out in public where people become so loyal to leaders that they excuse everything. Behaviors get ignored. Truth get twisted. Accountability disappeared. And you hear the same thing. They're anointed. They appointed. They're fighting for us. They're chosen. Um, but to be honest, blind loyalty has never been the same thing as righteousness. And to be honest, it ain't even really about politics. It's about what happens when people trade their discernment, their morals, their ethic and values in for devotion. Y'all will do anything to be associated with what? Rotten, foolishness, craziness. And I really hate that for y'all. I don't love it for y'all. I want y'all to start questioning foolishness. If it don't feel right, it ain't right. It don't make you rebellious. It makes you aware. And God is not offended by accountability. And he ain't threatened by the truth. The people that are trying to control you, control your thought, your movement, etc., they're threatened. They're offended. There is no offense in God. Period. So please, stop suffering in silence. Stop protecting these systems. Stop letting people call abuse God's will. Lord said, Jesus said, and all the things. Because these systems are not truly built on God. They're built in darkness. Because true systems of God bring joy, light, peace. God is not the author of confusion, not a sower of discord, craziness, or anything. And if it's all that going on, I guarantee you God ain't in there nowhere. People have been in the dark too long. Come out of it. Come out of it. My eyes itch. Sorry, y'all. My eyes itch. So this gonna conclude today's podcast topic. I really want y'all to do better. I'm gonna try to get back um in a couple of days and talk. I'm gonna post last week's podcast today because I forgot to post it. Stuff life has been going on, y'all. It's been so crazy. Um I think the biggest thing, and I want to close out my podcast right here. I'm not gonna do usually the food and shout outs and stuff because really, shout out to the people that have been helpful and who have loved me enough to help or whatever. I want to sleep at night without worrying about things, and you've made that semi somewhat possible. I had another 2 months to figure it out. Um, I want y'all to go back. Let me see how I want to word this. My call to action for this week is I want y'all to find some respect. I often teach kindness, but I really need y'all to find some respect. I think the first steps of being kind is just respect. Respect for others. Respect for other people's space. I want y'all to get y'all's life together. And most importantly, I really want y'all to understand that it's not about you. Things that you say and you do affect everybody around you. So why not choose the right thing to do and not the popular thing to do, even when the right thing is not the most popular thing to do. Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, that's what I want. My eyes are hurting so bad, y'all. I'm sorry, but I keep having to rub my eyes. They've been itching and hurting all day. I'm finna find my eye drops. I don't know what I did with them, but I gotta find them because baby, these things is on fire. Um. So yeah, y'all be easy peasy, breezy, chill out. Like love God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul, but don't be a fool, okay? And in the world where you can be anything, please, please, please be kind, be whole, and be in peace. Not in pieces. I love y'all for real. I really do. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, Bookies.